Hi, welcome back to Burning River Bushcraft. I was tagged by my friend Kevin Johnson of Midwest Woodcraft about doing a one-stick fire challenge. So here's my version of a one-stick fire. So a one-stick fire, in my opinion, is a critical skill. It is one of the main reasons behind batoning a knife. A knife is something that you should be carrying with you at all times in the woods. You can do this without having a saw. I brought a saw and I brought a knife with me today just because that's what I normally carry in my haversack. So just so we see how long this process takes, because this is not a fast process, I'm just going to shut up. I'm going to get it done. So this time of year in my area, it's wet. It's been raining like hell here, but it just holds the water. A lot of clay in the soil, kind of low anyway, so I have to deal with mud pretty much all the time. Right now, I'm just kneeling on my canvas haversack, and I'm kneeling in water. My knees are wet, whatever. I'm working on this tree right here. I've got everything split down. I've got my curls, or my feather sticks. I've got quite a few of these. This was my primary focus as I was busting through the stick. If I had nice square edges that looked to me that was not free, that I could get a decent feather out of it, I went ahead and made that a feather. That was my priority. I've got my kindling size pieces are just kind of like the ends that split off or broke or didn't quite baton through all the way. And then I move up to pencil size, and then finally I've got some fuel size, just a few of those. Where I was working, I lost some of them. Some of them fell on my haversack, which is waxed canvas, so it's still dry, at least the top side of it. But I've got all my small curls and feathers and shavings and stuff that just fell off the stick. That's going to be my go-to that I'm going to try to ignite first with my ferro rod. I'm going to grab this whole mess and move over. I've got a little shelter behind me here where I've had a fire in the past. I'm going to go ahead and move everything over that way, and we'll start to make a fire. As I mentioned, I'm working in mud, and this is a really wet area. Not part of the one stick fire. I just grabbed 3 random sticks, laid them one way, 3 random sticks, and laid them across. I'm just making myself a real loose platform to get this firelay up out of the mud, and it's going to let the air come up underneath and get going. I'm going to try to arrange most of my feather sticks, and then the small little curls that fell off, I'm going to try to get those in a happy spot somewhere supported, and then that's what I'm going to try to ignite with the ferro rod. Once that goes, we're just going to progress up the wood. The best analogy I've ever heard for a one stick fire like this, or for any fire in general, is you're going to start out with pencil lead size pieces of sticks, then you're going to move up to pencil size, and then you're going to go to thumb size. So I've got mine approximately laid out in the right order. And if you watch Kevin's video, Kevin reserved some curls and some feather sticks in case he gets into problems. That's a great thing to do. I always do that as well. I don't remember exactly what he called it. He kept it in reserve somehow. I call it an oh shit stick. If something's going wrong and I need to save my fire, I want to have a bird's nest, usually if I'm making a fire with a bird's nest, a bird's nest, some feather sticks, and a small, maybe double handful of small twigs, just to throw on the fire to be able to save it in case I spill something when I'm cooking or any other situation like that. All right, so I got my firelay set with my curls and my feather sticks laying about how I want them. I got my ferro rod out, and we're gonna see what happens. So this is a sustainable fire. I've got flames, maybe 10 inches high. So I go heavy on my feather sticks. I choose my best sticks to make my feathers with, because that's my most important part of this fire lay. If I've got heavy feather sticks and are on decently sized sticks to begin with, not too big, but just decently sized sticks that are dry, I've got a great heart to my fire as soon as I get it. As soon as I get my curls, I start rotating the feathers that aren't on fire on top of the ones that are. And then I go ahead and I progress through my sticks fairly quickly. I'll grab a handful of the pencil lead size, throw them on there. Once those are up in flames, which is almost instantly with a good lay like this, I'll grab my pencil size, throw those on. That usually takes a minute or two, and then I'll go to my thumb size. I can see that I've still got some of my thicker sticks that I made feathers with. They are starting to burn through the feathers, but the thicker part of the stick that's not on fire right now is laying outside the lay. So that's going to be my next move. Once I have this done and established, I'm going to start pulling the sticks that are burnt through, like this one here. The feathers burned off. I've got a sizable piece of wood. Now I'm going to start rotating that on top of the fire. Right now I could walk away and I could start grabbing more firewood and feeding this thing. I'm going to have coals with this small fire already. So this would be a good fire to start to, if I was making coffee in the woods or something like that. This isn't a barn burner, but this thing's instantly hot. It's got enough heart where I'm not using just twigs and just random little branches that I break off. So because it's got a heart and it's going to give me some coals, it's going to give me real heat once the flame burns down. so we can see all the pieces that, like this one, is completely burned out of the fire. So I'm going to go ahead and put the good unburnt wood in the fire, and it kind of feeds itself. So I mentioned I just grabbed a couple random sticks to get myself out of mud. Right now, those sticks are on fire too. So like I said, this was a one stick fire. I wasn't counting that as part of the fire lay. That's just an added bonus, I guess. And I'm looking at good coals right now. I've still got maybe 16-inch high flames, maybe 12 for sure. But either way, now, as I was coming through today, I just grabbed the first dead branch that looked okay to me. I think this is a piece of tulip poplar. So with a 4-inch knife like this, I'd like to have at least 1-inch striking surface on the outside of the log. So I would love to have found a 3-inch log for this to go into. If I had a 5-inch knife, you know, give me a 4-inch log, whatever. Because I was a little short, or diameter, because I did not have the diameter, I wouldn't have had enough material to make a fire like this if I had went with just a traditional 16-inch piece. So my stick you saw was a little long. So if you were to choose to carry a short knife, or got stuck in a situation where you had a short knife, or that's all you could find, like me today, that's all I could find easily, just go longer. And then you saw I was able to baton through, and once I got it down to, you know, thumb-sized pieces, I was just cracking them over my knee. I'm not stomping on a 2-inch, 2.5-inch branch. I'm not trying to lever it between two trees. I had nice sawn ends to baton into, so I kept them as long as I could. So just use your head about it and utilize the material that you've got to work with. So I'm going to let this fire die out now. This is a mandatory skill, in my opinion. It's mandatory to be able to find a piece of wood and make your entire fire lay out of that. That helps you understand the basics of fire. When you've got an entire wood lot available to you, now it helps you realize what material to look for. A lot of times if it's raining, the only place you can find dry wood is going to be deep inside a 3 or 4-inch branch like this. And you know, something simple like a knife and a saw, just to get you into those pieces of wood, is so light and simple to carry. It just disappears in your haversack or on your belt. And a ferro rod is vital. It's I would have lit this with a Zippo lighter or a Bic lighter or matches or whatever, and would have been just fine. The ferro rod's great to have for practice, and that's exactly what this is today, is practice. You're always going to have a fire lay that's not exactly stable. It's going to be shifting around a little bit, and if you can light a fire on a curl fire lay like this, when you get a bird's nest or something that's bigger and more accepting to the sparks, it's just that much easier. So Kevin, thanks for the heads up on this, and I love to participate in challenges like this. To the Midwest Woodcraft gang on Facebook, go ahead and you know, get out there and try it. Anybody else, if you want to try to make a 1-stick fire like this and just show me how you do it, go ahead and give it a whirl. You know, tag me in it, let me know that you made it. Kevin Johnson at Midwest Woodcraft, go ahead and sub him, let him know also. Post it on the Midwest Woodcraft Facebook group, and let's see what you guys can do. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click like, click subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified on my latest videos. Till next time, this has been Jamie Boggs with Burning River Bushcraft. See you soon.